Tonight, a child's testimony at a murder trial. A 10-year-old whose mother was killed takes the stand in a Kitchener court case. Snapshots of opinions on speed cameras.
I do think Doug Ford is doing a good job, but that is actually a really bad idea.
Waterloo Region reaction to the Premier's ongoing threats to get rid of them. A township cutting costs.
It will be the October bills where they will see the fee for the first time.
One tax bill at a time. The shift in Wilmot
I don't need that in my life.
that doesn't have everyone clicking yes. Good evening. We begin with a child who testified today at the murder trial connected to the death of her mother. It's all related to a triple stabbing nearly 3 years ago in Kitchener. And we want to warn you, some of the details in this story are disturbing. CTV Spencer Turcotte reports.
A 10-year-old girl appeared virtually today from the Child Witness Center to recount the night she, her mother, and the accused's mother were stabbed. Dylan Moreira is on trial for second-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and 2 counts of aggravated assault for allegedly killing his girlfriend, who was the child's mother, and stabbing the child and his own mother in November 2022. The Crown showed court a video interview between a Waterloo Regional Police detective and the girl, who was 7 years old at the time, from her hospital bed. Her arm was heavily bandaged and she held a stuffed animal. In the video, the young girl recalls a chaotic scene involving a knife. Mom said something and Dylan just snapped. Today, the girl testified her brother hacked Moreira's computer, and that's what sparked Moreira's anger. In the video from the hospital, the girl recalls Moreira saying, "You're all dead. You're all dead. Everyone is going down." The order in which Moreira's mother, his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's daughter were stabbed were not made clear in today's testimony, but the girl recalled her mother saying, "Honey, did he stab you?" She told court she was stabbed 2 times on my arm, 1 in my armpit, 1 in my leg, and 1 behind my ear. The young girl testified that as Moreira held her mother's throat with one hand and a knife in the other, "I was screaming, 'Dylan, we love you, we love you.' I wanted to scream at the top of my lungs, 'We hate you, Dylan.'" In today's testimony, the girl told court Moreira had previous physical altercations with her mother and referenced one incident involving a chair. During cross-examination, defense lawyer Stephen Gale addressed the girl. "I'm going to suggest to you that Mr. Moreira never hit your mother with a chair." "That's not true," the young girl responded. "You seem to find that amusing. Why?" said Gale, who then pointed out the girl was spinning repeatedly on her chair at the Child Witness Center. Justice Gibson asked the girl to stop and try to answer the questions. The girl signaled that she'd like a break. After a brief recess, the defense told the girl, "I'm going to say your mom's ribs were never broken and Dylan never threw a chair." "That's wrong," the girl replied. The defense also suggested the girl's mother was high on the day of the stabbings. "I'm going to suggest that your mom grabbed the knife first, and I'm going to suggest that your mom stabbed Dylan in the head." The girl denied both. Cross-examination will continue with the girl tomorrow. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News Kitchener.
The death of a Cambridge woman whose body was found in North Dumfries earlier this month is now Waterloo Region's 2nd homicide investigation of the year. Elizabeth Spurgeon was found dead September 12th in the West River Road and Brant Waterloo Road area of North Dumfries. Waterloo Regional Police announcing this afternoon that the case is now considered a homicide investigation and making another appeal for tips. Investigators are trying to find anyone who can tell them where Spurgeon was in the days leading up to September 12th. Time for a first check on the weather on this Wednesday evening. Let's head over to Ashley Bacon live in studio with all of the details. Ash, you know, another one of those days where you just really couldn't tell if you were going to be safe for a walk, a run, whatever. Like you said, that old phrase, keep the umbrella handy.
That's it.
Actually means a lot this week.
Absolutely. I feel like it's a bit of a reverse and repeat today, because certainly it is a similar situation than we saw yesterday. You know, there's patches of sun, lots of overcast, and of course some showers in the mix. Now, I just looked at our studio windows a few minutes ago, and it was still raining just outside here in Kitchener. As we can see on the board behind me, our radar, there's a big patch of precipitation lingering throughout the region and will continue to do so for about the next 24 hours. We are going to still see warmer than usual temperatures. We're still sitting at 20 degrees, which is a couple degrees higher than we would normally see this time of year. And of course, a little bit more rain to come, but I'll have more details about when we can see the sun again coming up in the show. Tony.
Okay, Ash, thank you very much. Talk to you shortly. Doug Ford's made no secret about how he feels about speed cameras. Well, today, Toronto's mayor and police chief are weighing in on the Premier's comments to have them eliminated. CTV's Siobhan Morris brings us the latest.
They've been a fixation for the Premier the last few weeks. Speed cameras pointed at municipal roads to nab speeders. While his government paved the way for them 5 years ago, Doug Ford now calls them
just a tax grab.
Ford warned if cities didn't stop using the cameras,
I'm going to help them get rid of them very shortly.
The Association of Chiefs of Police cautioned that taking cameras out would put pedestrians at risk, urging the Premier to reconsider. Toronto's police chief didn't want to get into camera politics.
Our approach to traffic enforcement and road safety is a holistic approach that involves many considerations, speed cameras being one.
But the mayor emphatic.
We know speed kills. We know speed cameras work, according to all the research, especially from sick kids. Why wouldn't we have it?
While he hasn't named names, Ford insists that behind closed doors, some mayors admit the cameras aren't about road safety.
They tell me straight out, well, it's not about that. We need the money, and we're going to put it towards, roads and this and that.
He seems ready to take money out of the equation.
We're going to be giving municipalities across the province a lot of money to put in all sorts of street calming methods, from the little turnabouts, from speed bumps to flashing signs.
An alternative to speed cameras that have been vandalized dozens of times in Toronto and beyond.
I think it's idiotic to remove them. And I actually am kind of appalled that the Premier thinks that, he's supporting the vandalism of this public property. I think it's really awful.
Ford has said he doesn't condone the vandalism, but understands the frustration. Toronto City Councillor Josh Mallow accuses Ford of playing politics with kids' safety, planning a motion at council to create a reasonable threshold for tickets. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
The Premier's push to end the cameras comes just as Waterloo Region is ramping up its program. A handful of new cameras have gone in, and the region doesn't plan on slowing down. More are going online in the coming weeks. CTV's Heather Centerin is live now on King Street in Kitchener with more. Heather, the new speed cameras are all in school zones.
3 in Cambridge, Tony, and 2 in Kitchener. And some of the residents I spoke with in some of those areas say they hope they're here to stay. The speed limit is 40 on this stretch of Myers Road in Cambridge near schools, but that doesn't stop drivers from speeding.
It's tough to go 40, but I've seen 140. Honestly, right through Myers here.
Chris Ritterbush has lived nearby for years and says it can get dangerous.
We've had a couple of accidents here. My wife was out watering our berm, and there was an accident, and she had to put a car out, or a truck actually, out with the hose.
But residents hope it starts to feel safer now that a new speed camera has been installed here and in 4 other areas across Waterloo Region.
Police can't be everywhere, and there needs to be something that deters people.
But not everyone is on board. Spray paint over one of the signs on Myers says no. And Premier Doug Ford publicly said he thinks there's better ways to slow down drivers, calling speed cameras a cash grab.
I don't think it's a tax grab if it goes to the right area, but people need to be aware that they're speeding excessively.
The provincial transportation minister previously indicated that legislation could be tabled this fall to put the brakes on speed camera programs across Ontario.
But that is actually a really bad idea. I don't understand why anybody would want to take speed cameras away when it's keeping the public safe.
The region of Waterloo said in a statement that since there's been no formal legislative change from the province, the speed camera program is here to stay, saying that municipal speed cameras remain one of the tools in our toolbox that the region and our area municipal partners use to protect children and other vulnerable road users in school zones. The speed camera program expanded earlier this year, and the region says it's been successful in showing why it's needed. Between February 3rd and the end of July this year, more than 2 million speeding incidents were caught on speed cameras, leading to nearly 56,000 tickets issued in that time. The median ticket cost the driver $108. There are 6 more spots across Waterloo Region that will be getting new speed cameras in the next 2 weeks. Tony.
CTV's Heather Centerin reporting live in Kitchener. Heather, thank you for that. There is movement in the ongoing college support staff strike. The workers, represented by OPSU and the College Employer Council, have agreed to resume talks on Friday with the help of a government-appointed mediator. Tomorrow marks 2 weeks since 10,000 workers across the province hit the picket lines. The College Employer Council says talks came to a standstill because the union is asking for a guarantee for no campus or college mergers or closures and no staff reductions for a period of 3 years. The union says they're seeking job security for the workers, who include positions like library technologists, staff with disability services, and facilities and trades staff. After 5 years of delays, a large condo tower on Weber Street in Kitchener is ready for buyers to pick up their keys. But some of those owners say the building is far from finished and that they're concerned for their safety. CTV's Jeff Pickle now joining us with more on this story. Jeff, this project has a long history. It was replaced in receivership after the original developer ran out of money.
Well, Tony, it's 1333 Weber Street, originally known as the Elevate condos. Construction started way back in 2020, but quickly ran into problems. And by last year, a new owner was needed to finish the massive project. But now that the first tower is nearing completion, some of those who bought a unit say there is no way they can move in.
It's been a long wait for condo owners of 1333 Weber Street East.
I bought it in 2020. I was living with my parents at the time, and I was ready to buy my new home.
After enduring delays through COVID, the original builder ran out of money and needed a bailout from Elm Developments.
It was 2024. It was last year. And then it was put on the market to be sold.
After more delays this summer, a final occupancy date was set for Friday, September 19th, meaning the developer had to meet a bare minimum standard of completion or the buyers could agree to terminate the contract. Last Friday, the majority of the units were granted occupancy by the city of Kitchener, but condo owners say it's nowhere close to ready.
And our opinion of the group is we have some concerns about where the building's at. The hallways are filthy. There's boarded up windows still. There's leaks in the sprinkler system in the parking garage.
For Anna and Jordan, who are expecting their first child in the next few days, they can't imagine actually living here.
There's reasons to be concerned.
I don't feel safe having my baby here. I don't feel safe raising my kid here with these conditions.
According to the city of Kitchener, occupancy is a technical term that is often misunderstood.
They're all technical requirements that surround basic life, fire, and health safety systems. Things like emergency lighting, exit signs, sprinkler systems, fire alarm systems. Does the elevator work?
Sealing says many of the issues raised by buyers do not factor into the decision.
There are some things such as dust, cleanliness, whether a kitchen cupboard has come off its hinge, baseboard trim in some condo units, and the finished flooring in the corridors. Those are important items, but the building code doesn't prescribe those things, that they have to be complete in order for the city to issue occupancy.
Anna and Jordan, along with other condo owners, say they are disappointed and hopeful for fair resolution with the developer.
We had conversations with Elm Development to have conversations around a mutual release, which has never happened.
We're still waiting on instructions about the mutual release.
And clearly there are major financial ramifications around this issue, both for the buyers and the developers. Many buyers hoping to get out of a deal they signed 5 years ago. The developers not wanting to lose money on this massive project. Tomorrow we will have more on this story and why buyers say they have concerns about the process. Tony?
Okay, we'll look forward to the follow-up report on this. Jeff, thank you. CTV's Jeff Pickle with that story for us tonight. Start your day in the know with the CTV Kitchener newsletter. Top stories, the latest forecast, and some must-see videos. You can sign up over on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. A new deal could give players with local junior hockey teams a world of new opportunities to develop their skills. Coming up, the agreement involving the OHL that could open new doors for young hockey players.
Showers are expected for at least the next 24 hours, but the sun is set to make a return just in time for the weekend. That's coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVKitchener.ca, your home for news.
Wilmot Township's efforts to bring its finances back on track will mean a price to pay for paper billing. Beginning next week, taxpayers will have to pay a fee to get property tax and utility bills in the mail. But some residents have reservations about it. To explain, let's join CTV's Alexandra Hollick live now with more. Alexandra, what are some of the concerns being raised?
Well, Tony, one man we spoke to says he's concerned about his personal information getting compromised in the event of a cyber attack. He's also worried about others who may not have access to computers and hopes the township keeps that in mind when it comes to implementing the fee. Jim Corbett has lived in Wilmot Township for nearly half his life. The 80-year-old built his family home here 39 years ago and keeps a paper trail of all his payments.
I'm from the old school. You like something in your hand, something I can file.
But the old school student is learning a new lesson in the form of a $2.50 fee.
Effective October 1st, a $2.50 fee will apply to tax and utility paper billing. So not just the water bill, but also the tax from Wilmot Township. Council
made the call during budget talks earlier this year as it wrestled with ways to bring a proposed 50% tax hike down to 18%.
It's mainly for cost recovery. There is an extra cost for us to generate the paper, stuff the envelopes, pay the postage, and that comes to about $50,000 a year.
The township is one of 3 municipalities in the province to charge a fee. The city of Quinte West in southeastern Ontario charges $1.50 on paper utility bills only, while up north in Sioux Lookout, residents pay $3 per property tax and utility bill.
I don't think it was because others were doing it. I think the idea came from our councillors that we're looking for ways to help balance the budget.
So far, half the township is on board with e-billing, but Corbett says he's not looking to make the switch.
If that would be an electronic bill and the township gets hacked, then the problem comes into Jimmy's court. Then I have the problem. I don't need that in my life.
And he says he's not the only resident with reservations.
There's people in our township that, or in our village, that don't even know what a computer is, much less having to pay on it. So what about them?
The township says it hears Corbett's concerns, but like paper billing, the fee is here to stay.
It's a pretty modest cost. It's only $15 a year. And certainly we encourage people to sign up for paperless billing if they're comfortable with that, but we're not requiring it.
Corbett says he hopes they reconsider.
If not, I will likely pay the $2.50 and we'll just see what happens. I would think that this is not over.
Wilmot's $2.50 fee will start showing up on paper property taxes and utility bills in October. The fee is tacked onto the bill itself, so there's no need for an additional payment to cover that cost. And of course, anyone who opted for e-billing will not have to pay. Tony?
Alexandra Hollick reporting live for us. Thank you for that. A new report suggests brain injuries linked to sports are more common than previously thought. CTV's John Musselman has more on the efforts to keep players safe.
The key finding in this study shows that sports and recreational brain injuries are more prevalent than previously thought. The data shows that about 37% of brain injuries reported between 2010 and 2019 in Ontario hospitals were related to sports and recreational activities. That's more than triple the previous estimate of 12%. The positive news is that brain injuries dropped nearly 10% following the introduction of Rowan's Law. It was named in honor of Ottawa teen rugby player Rowan Stringer, who died from second impact syndrome in 2013.
if there's a player who's suspected of having a brain injury, you need to remove that player from play immediately and make sure that they're checked by a healthcare professional before they return. And this was the information that would have saved Rowan Stringer's life.
Dr. Jesse Young is a researcher with CAMH and the lead author of this study.
I think my biggest surprise was how prevalent sports and recreation-related traumatic brain injury is, particularly because we're looking at hospital-treated traumatic brain injury. So if you think about the total burden, it's likely much larger than what we were able to observe in the study, because we only observed those who consider it or have symptoms that prompt them to seek care. And we know that many people who have traumatic brain injury, whether it's sports related or otherwise, don't actually seek care for those symptoms.
Ontario has absolutely been the leader in Canada on this, and at the recent FPT meeting in August, Minister Lumsden stood up and asked the other provinces to think about adopting Rowan's Law.
The legislation sets out a framework for how parents, coaches, trainers, and athletes should respond if a brain injury is suspected during sports or recreational activities. John Musselman, CTV News.
Back outside we go live now to this live look at Kitchener's Deer Ridge area from our photographer Dave Pettit. You can see those clouds that have been lingering over us all day still hovering around, still representing a threat for some more showers as we move through tonight and possibly tomorrow as well. Ashley Bacon's back with all of those details for us in just a couple of minutes. Also coming up, Take two. The Jays try to cement a more premium playoff spot, but they're going to need to find a win against the Red Sox. We will gauge the mood among fans after last night's loss. But next, U.S. President Trump thinks Ukraine can win the war. But what does Ukraine's president have to say to the UN about it all today? Back with that next. I don't know how, but we just got into a random conversation about whether it's unlucky to open an umbrella while you're still inside or not.
Yeah.
It's an old superstition. I don't buy it.
I'm not very superstitious. I was just saying to Tony that, you know, we've been talking a lot about rain in the last few days, and maybe if it continues, I'll bring a prop tomorrow.
A prop of some sort.
It's been a little bit of repeat on this Wednesday.
Little on brand, though, for the third day of fall.
Absolutely.
To have a kind of one of those weeks where it's a bit dreary and you're getting showers here and there and everywhere. Not consistently all at once. I did sneak a walk in last night.
There you go.
But it was just during the right half hour.
You've got to pick your time because it really does come and go, and it will continue to be similar conditions throughout the next day or so, Tony. So we're not out of the woods yet, but we saw a lot of drought this summer, a lot of dry conditions, so I'm sure there's a lot of people who are very grateful for this wet stuff. As we can see outside our studios here tonight, it is looking dark out there. Now, it was raining a little bit earlier when we were doing our 5 o'clock show and into the 6, but it looks like it is now paused for a few minutes at least. Now, I hope you're all enjoying this wet Wednesday afternoon and evening. It is going to continue to be wet, but I want to also talk to you about the temperatures because it is above seasonal temperatures. It's still quite warm out for February. For fall, we're not quite in February yet. Starting in northern Ontario, Pickle Lake, 24 degrees. That is significantly warmer than their average for this time of year. Thunder Bay, 20, Sudbury, 19, Timmins, 19 as well. So it is certainly keeping into summer-like conditions with the temperature just a little bit wetter than what we've experienced over the last few weeks and months. 18 in London and Hamilton, 21 down in Windsor, and closer to home here in Kitchener-Waterloo, still sitting at a very comfortable 19 degrees. Very close to our average for this time of year, which is 18. As we look at our future cast here, we are sitting right under a massive band of precipitation. We are not currently under any watches or warnings for storms, but of course those things can change quickly, so do keep an eye out for the next few hours just to make sure that you are keeping safe. As we move through Thursday, we will see spotty showers into Thursday evening, overnight, and even into Friday morning, but by Friday afternoon, evening, this time Friday, we're looking at pretty much clear skies, sunny conditions for the remainder of the weekend, which is a nice start to the day. Let's talk about rainfall totals. Only about another 4 millimeters are expected for the next 24 hours, so not a lot of rain, but it is just going to sort of linger throughout. Overnight tonight, conditions are going to still be quite warm, only getting down to 15 degrees. Right now, our average is 7. So in comparison, that is quite warm, and about a 60% chance for showers, as I mentioned. So it is going to continue to be a bit wet. Tomorrow, conditions very similar to today. A high of 21 degrees is expected with a 40% chance for showers. So do keep your umbrellas on hand, at least for one more day. You're going to need them. As we look at our almanac, lots to talk about here. Temperatures can really swing from 32.5 back in 2017 to minus 3.3. So it is a big swing time of year, and certainly right now we are experiencing what feels more like summer conditions. Look at that, Tony, for your baseball game on Friday. It is looking like 23 and sunny, and on the weekend as well. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar conditions for you, even warmer for your Saturday, Sunday, 25 and 26. And lastly, in southern Georgian Bay, chance for an afternoon thunderstorm tomorrow. Make sure you take care if it is in play. Obviously, by Friday, that sun's making a reappearance. So, Tony, not a bad-looking first weekend of fall ahead.
But I'll just say before we go to the Weather Watcher picture that the end of that rain is getting awfully close to opening pitch time on Friday.
It will be a game time decision.
Very well played. Very well played.
Okay, let's take a look at our Weather Watcher photo. This one was sent in from Dave. He took it during a morning bike ride on the Iron Bridge in Cambridge, and I just really like how the spider web is sort of framing the picture.
Yeah.
It's giving spooky season vibes.
And it's not too long before we get into Halloween thoughts. You were saying actually you're already decorating your place.
I mean, there's some of us who may or may not have pulled out a few things already.
All right. Hey, it's you know, I think that's okay. We're near the end of September now.
I've got to accept that summer is over and move on from it. So that's
something
how I
to look forward to. All right, Ash, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Well, in a forum built to pursue peace, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky asked for continuing support today from members of the United Nations to defend itself against Russia. This comes, of course, one day after U.S. President Trump's U-turn when he said he believed Ukraine can win the war. CTV's Judy Trin now with more from New York.
We are now living through the most destructive arms race in human history.
Even as Ukraine's president warned about the escalating dangers of unchecked AI-controlled drones, Volodymyr Zelensky said the less advanced version of the weapons was enabling his country to hold back Moscow's might.
Ukraine doesn't have the big fat missiles dictators love to show off in parades, but we do have drones that can fly up to 2,000-3,000 kilometers.
Zelensky cited success in destroying Russian assets in the Black Sea and key infrastructure. His comments come as the American president takes a harsher tone toward the Kremlin. In the past week, Russian drones and fighter jets have flown into the airspace of Poland and Estonia, NATO members.
Do you think that NATO countries should shoot down Russian aircraft if they enter their airspace?
Yes, I do. After Tuesday's face-to-face, Donald Trump made a remarkable U-turn. He posted on social media that after getting to understand the Ukraine-Russia military-economic situation, he now believes Ukraine can win back all of its territory. Previously, Trump had said ending the war would require Ukraine giving up territory it had lost. The prime minister said that Vladimir Putin had proven he could not be trusted.
The president, however, has made very sincere and multiple efforts to try to establish peace. He has used his long-standing relationship with President Putin in those efforts to try to establish peace, and Putin has failed on every occasion, every opportunity.
Trump has called on nations to put secondary sanctions on countries that buy Russian oil. Prime Minister Mark Carney said G7 countries are discussing such economic measures to put additional pressure on Putin to end the war. Judy Trin, CTV News, New York.
A bank worker fired after being accused of tapping into the Prime Minister's personal data. Coming up, details on the arrest and what the RCMP have to say about this case.
Your Kitchener Rangers are back for another exciting season, and CTV Kitchener has your chance to win tickets. Want to see the Rangers take on the Owen Sound Attack October 3rd? Enter now for your chance to win at ctvkitchener.ca.
The Prime Minister has been the victim of an alleged privacy breach by an employee of Canada's largest bank. The RCMP have criminally charged a 23-year-old man with 4 charges, including fraud and identity theft. CTV's Abigail Beeman has details.
It all started in July with a tip-off complaint from RBC to the Mounties. Police accused then-bank employee Ibrahim El Hakim of accessing, among other things, Prime Minister Mark Carney's personal data. The 23-year-old faces 4 charges: fraud over $5,000, unauthorized use of computer, identity theft, and trafficking in identity information. RCMP won't say if they believe the suspect is linked to organized crime.
This is the Prime Minister's financial information, and what I gather from this is that this is clearly information that could be potentially leveraged by what we call a threat actor.
The case is being handled by the RCMP's Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, but they note there is no threat to the Prime Minister's safety or national security. For its part, RBC says it independently identified unauthorized system access, took immediate action to engage authorities, and El Hakim is no longer employed at the bank. The bank didn't answer CTV News questions about whether high-profile client accounts are given more protection than average Canadians.
It applies to all Canadians, so it just reminds everyone that, privacy and having system to prevent, fraudulent access to anyone's file is something that we should all be concerned about.
I'm not aware of those details, actually. Yeah, but that would worry me. Yeah.
The suspect has another court appearance here in Ottawa next week. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Okay, time to update our top stories now. Leanne Evans in studio with us now for the latest. And Leanne, we're going to begin with a child's testimony today at a murder trial in Kitchener, a trial that's connected to the death of her mother.
Tony, the 10-year-old girl recounted the night she, her mother, and the accused mother were stabbed. Dylan Morera is accused of killing his girlfriend, who was the child's mother, and stabbing the child and his own mother back in November 2022. The girl telling court today, quote, "Mom said something and Dylan just snapped." Also telling court her brother had hacked Morera's computer, and that's what sparked the anger. Cross-examination will continue with the girl tomorrow. A Cambridge woman's death is now being investigated as Waterloo Region's second homicide of the year. Elizabeth Spurgeon was found dead on September 12th in North Dumfries. Regional police announcing this afternoon that the case is now considered a homicide and made another appeal for tips. They're hoping to speak with anyone who knows anything about where she was in the days leading up to her death.
And Leanne, on our website, police are also renewing a plea for tips in a fatal stabbing, and we've got those details online right now.
They're asking for the public's help to close an unsolved murder case. Joshua Bennett was 18 years old when he was found dead along a Kitchener trail. That was 4 years ago today. To mark the anniversary of Bennett's death, police renewing their plea for tips in the case, and a $50,000 reward is being offered for credible information that leads to an arrest in the stabbing. You can find out more on our website, ctvnewskitchener.ca. Tony.
Okay, Leanne Evans with a look at our top stories. Thanks, Leanne.
Thank you.
Well, the pressure is certainly on for the Toronto Blue Jays as they take on the Boston Red Sox once again tonight. That story in a moment, but the only certainty for baseball fans at this point is what's coming next season. Automated umpires in the majors. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has a preview of the future.
It's a strike, and again, not reviewable. Oh, boy. And then that call goes against them.
In baseball, 3 strikes has always meant you're out.
That ball a good 3 inches off the outside corner.
Often leading to close quarter disagreements.
They are yelling at each other like this close, like face to face. The really immature managers are kicking dirt on the ump.
And Billy is not going to go quietly.
They've been sort of like Supreme Court justices. There has been no higher court.
That will change as of next season. Major League Baseball confirming that each team will get 2 chances to challenge a ball or a strike as it ushers in the era of robot umpiring using an automated ball strike system known as ABS.
This is a very good day for baseball fans, because the last thing you want is games ended because of a bad call.
Utilizing a dozen cameras positioned around the field, ABS technology is also being used in tennis and football. The league says it will take no more than 15 seconds for a challenged pitch to be decided.
And the average replay challenge took 13.8 seconds. And there's only 4 challenges in the course of a game. So we're literally talking about 57 seconds added to a game.
Baseball pundits say the move can't come soon enough.
Baseball's been going on since the 19th century. Baseball's been going on since before the First World War. And now they're finally doing this.
It's important to note that the human element of the game will remain unchanged. Umpires will still be behind home plate. Those we spoke with, though, hope this will encourage the men in black to step up their game. Adrian Gobro, CTV News, Toronto.
Okay, now to the Jays. A loss last night didn't help them in their quest to clinch the American League East, but fans aren't giving up hope that they can get it done during this final homestand. First against the Boston Red Sox. CTV's Raheem Ladani has more.
This year, hits it, fouls.
After the Blue Jays' frustrating 4-1 loss to the Red Sox Tuesday night, Jays fans are feeling
awful right now, but they're going to come through.
Well, a little apprehensive, you know. Still got a little work to do.
The deadline to get that work done is closing in, and the Jays have lost 5 of their last 6 games. The Blue Jays' magic number to clinch the AL East pennant remains at 4, with 5 games remaining. Meanwhile, the New York Yankees are now just 1 game back of Toronto.
It has been gut check time. The nerves are in full force. Not exactly the time of year you want to suddenly see your offense dry up.
Go Jays! Not everyone is hitting the panic button, though. Cheryl from Chilliwack, BC, is celebrating her 70th birthday, and she and her husband George have complete confidence.
They always come back, or mostly always come back.
Our Jays are rocking it.
And then there's die-hard Jays fan, Peter from the United Kingdom, who's trying to keep perspective.
The trouble is, we've done so well that anything other than winning the division now feels like a loss. You know, we're in the playoffs with the first team in the league to be confirmed. So we shouldn't be too down on ourselves, even if it doesn't work out with the Yankees.
Regardless of where the Jays finish, there will be playoff baseball in Toronto, which fans say is
priceless.
Tickets go on sale to the general public Thursday morning, and everyone wishes they could be there.
I'm from Moncton, New Brunswick, and I'd love to see a playoff game. I'd really love to be in that atmosphere, but unfortunately it's not going to happen.
But no matter how the standings shake out, Toronto knows October baseball is coming. Raheem Ladani, CTV News.
Getting the best of both worlds in junior hockey. Coming up, CTV's Colton Weens on the new development deal that's being touted as a big opportunity for young players. Another junior hockey season's underway, and this year a new deal is expected to open more doors for young players to develop their skills. CTV's Colton Weens now on the partnership between the OHL and the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League that could be a game changer.
The Ontario Hockey League has entered a partnership with the Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League, creating formal guidance on how teams can call up and send down players.
They have the ability to move them up and down a little more freely. We want to allow that player to move up and down. Therefore, what it benefits is the player. That's the development of it.
Until now, some major junior teams in the OHL and junior B teams in the GOJHL had informal affiliations. Now there are official guidelines on when and how players can move, and all 20 OHL teams can call up players from any of the 23 GOJHL teams or send draft picks down for more development.
We're right in the heart of GOJHL country with all the teams kind of
pretty close to us. So selfishly, it's great for us to have that partnership. And we had placed guys in the past there, and we've placed guys already this year, and we'll continue to do in the future. But now that there's actually some more guidelines and rules on it, it makes it nice and easy.
You would normally see before the OHL teams keep 1 and 2, maybe their 3rd round picks and develop them right there. Right now, we have first rounders for the first year in our league.
The Kitchener Rangers recently sent their 2nd round pick, 16-year-old Alex Forrest, down to Cambridge, while current Rangers Weston Cameron and Caden Schneider played in the Junior B ranks last season. The Waterloo Siskins agree that it's a great opportunity for players to get more development, and it also means that players aren't stuck in a certain league for the entire season.
It's exciting. It's opportunities for players. They don't have to think about it as being, they're here for a whole year. They could be here for half a year. They could be here for as long as they need to be.
Junior B players will now participate in OHL prospect events. Spada believes this also gives older GOJHL players another chance to be seen by OHL scouts.
We're really looking forward to having the opportunity to help develop more players for the OHL.
The OHL has also indicated it is exploring further agreements with other junior leagues in the province. Colton Ween, CTV News, Waterloo.
All right, let's check in with Omar now over in the national newsroom for a look at what's coming up later tonight.
Tonight, the Prime Minister's banking records breached.
Fraudulent access to anyone's file is something that we should all be concerned about.
Who allegedly gained access to confidential information and how the Mounties were tipped off. Later on CTV National News.
Spotty showers expected for your morning on Thursday. I'll have those details coming up. Another rainy Wednesday night. What a perfect time to start with E-Talk at 7 p.m., followed by The Big Bang Theory and then The Floor at 8, and cap off the night with back-to-back episodes of The Big Bang Theory.
5K a day is back on 105.3 Virgin Radio. Listen to Jeff KP and Backstage Ben for your chance to win $5,000
every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
And we're going to join Leanne one more time for a look at what we'll have tonight on CTV News at 11:30. Leanne.
Well, Tony, we're following the regional council meeting this evening. A number of different items on the agenda tonight. We'll bring you the latest on that. Also, a massive game for the Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Boston Red Sox. First pitch just minutes away now. Of course, the magic number to clinch the AL East is 4. Any combination of Toronto wins and Yankee losses totaling 4 would mean that division title. Tony, I know what you're doing when you go home from work tonight.
Oh, yeah. And, unfortunately going to have to join it in progress. But
yes, me too.
We'll tap into that game. Okay, thanks, Leanne.
You got it.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be quite a night
It's going to be a
as far as that goes.
dome-closed night, I'm assuming.
It will be.
Yes.
Good way to segue into the weather.
It'll be a domed close because it is such patchy weather at the moment. The best way to describe what we're expecting for the morning is scattered showers. So not a lot of wet stuff, but there will still be some lingering rain throughout the day. And as I've sounded on repeat over and over, just keep your umbrella handy, even if it looks like that sun's trying to peek through. It's we're not out of the clear yet. About 24 more hours or so, Tony.
It's good advice. It's more than just an old saying. It's very good advice this week. Practical advice.
Very practical indeed.
Finally, for us tonight, after a week-long suspension, late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel was back at work.
And as CTV's Andrea Case reports, he was defiant, apologetic, and at times emotional.
Last night, when Jimmy Kimmel returned to the show that bears his name...
Anyway, as I was saying before I was interrupted...
He did so with a nod to the original night show host, Jack Parr, who in 1960 walked off the set after NBC censors cut a joke he had told. Parr returned a month later with these words.
As I was saying before I was interrupted...
Kimmel, who was suspended last week, didn't have to wait that long.
I understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't...
The suspension came after backlash over his comments on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. He had these words for Kirk's widow.
On Sunday, Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow.
Approximately 20% of U.S. networks are still not airing Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Tonight, I'm back and I missed you.
Owned by Nexstar and Sinclair, including those in Washington, D.C., Seattle, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and Syracuse, New York.
This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
Canadian singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan, who signed a joint letter with 400 other celebrities in support of Kimmel's return, was the musical guest.
Come back to me begging, why'd you leave? Tell me why. How could you let this go?
A lot of people have been asking me if there are conditions for my return to the air, and there is one. Disney has asked me to read the following statement.
And what would a Tonight Show monologue be without poking fun at the situation?
To reactivate your Disney Plus and Hulu account.
He had no ratings.
Well, I do tonight.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
All right, Andrea, thank you for that. And before we go tonight, I have one more thing to get to.
Okay.
And it's not on the rundown anywhere.
It's not.
So our show producer right now probably thinks I'm going rogue by doing this.
I mean, it's not unusual for you.
It's not unusual. Happy birthday to our 6 o'clock news producer, Jeff Soltesiak. He's waving at us
Jeff.
from the booth over there. Jeff's been with CTV, CKCO Kitchener for a long time.
A long, long time.
And he is a wealth of knowledge and information, and he's one of the reasons why you see this wonderfully put together news hour that we do every day.
He's
because
really
of
the backbone of the newscast.
Jeff's judgment, yep, and he's a great guy in the newsroom as well. So Salts, happy birthday, from all of us. And in the meantime, go Jays.
Go Jays. Yeah.
Go Jays.
They need
That's
a win
right.
for Salt's birthday.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be lovely. We'll see you tomorrow. Krista Simpson's here at 11:30.